So in late July or early August, we have Glorious Goodwood. Loads of racing from Tuesday to Saturday, and it's run at a beautiful course based just outside Chichester in the UK. Please like and comment on the video below. That will allow me to produce better quality videos and more of them in the future. So I hope you recognise this glorious scenery behind me, because it's Goodwood, and in late July, early August every year we have a festival of racing here at Goodwood Racecourse. Now, it's not as big as some of the other meetings, it's not as big as a Cheltenham or an Ascot, but it's certainly quite big in its own right. I reckon it will turn over 40 to 45 million or so this year. On average, the races will turn over about £1 million per race. Last year, the biggest race turned over 2.2 million, and the smallest race about £500,000. So you tend to find when trading Goodwood that you have a big feature race in the middle of the day, and they top and tail that with other sorts of racing. So trading conditions can undulate more than the course behind me. But it's a very big meeting, and it's certainly worthy of your attention. Now, over the years, Goodwood has traded hot and cold for me. Some years I've done spectacularly well, other years not so well. So that's sort of averaged out to being pretty good, but not as good as some of the other big meetings. I tend not to hit Goodwood as hard as I tend to do the other meetings. But I've had a good year this year, so I'm hoping that I can perform pretty well at Goodwood this year. But it's certainly a meeting that's very worthy of your attention. So I'm stood just outside the 5 furlong marker here. You can see it actually dips down towards 6 furlongs, rises as we get towards 5 furlongs. And then as the horses bolt down towards the finish line in the grandstand in the distance there, you can see the elevation decreases again. Very interesting course. Now, I never realised it, but there is actually an enclosure, if you can call it that, by the 6 furlong start. You can see it's not very big, but it looks like there's a place for people to stand here and watch the start. So Goodwood is an interesting course because, like a lot of courses in the UK, it's not manicured and flat. It's not artificial. It's a real course. It's perched on top of a hill, and the course undulates a lot. You can see one of the starts over here in the distance, and you can see how it rises to where I am now before heading off towards the finish over here. So yeah, a very varied and challenging course for a number of reasons. So to get a really good view of the course, you need to come up on the hill that adjoins Goodwood. It's an old Iron Age fort, I think, by the layout. But you can see down here the very lowest point within the course, and you can see how that rises up and over the top of the hill. Then it dips slightly where we get the fork, and then after the fork it rises again towards the top of the crest of the hill, and then it descends again as we come towards the 5 furlong marker, and then you can see it's predominantly downhill until we get to the finish line at the grandstand. So this is the view down the finishing straight. You can see in the distance there the finishing post and the main grandstand. But we're at quite an elevated position here as we head down towards the finish line. It's quite amazing when you stand here just to see how high it is. I don't think you get a real realization of that when you're looking at this course on the television. And on the right hand side here you can see a hill, and on that hill you get a wonderful view of the race course, but you can also see there's a little enclosure there on the side of the hill. So one of the wonderful things about Goodwood is the beautiful countryside. There's a beautiful hill I'm strolling across at this particular moment, and of course, because it's Goodwood, we're only ever a short distance away from being able to place a bet. On the hill they even have tote pool and Betfair stands. Now, one of the things that I've noticed here, you probably won't be able to see it much on this particular image. Maybe I'll need to zoom in. In fact, let's zoom in. So here's something interesting for you. If you look closely at the grandstand, you can see on the left of the buildings, on the far left of this image, you can see a mobile telephone mast. However, have a look what else I found in terms of mobile telephony. So right behind me on the hill where I'm filming here, there's actually 2 more masts. You can see one here and one here. So I thought, well, I know what I'll do. I'll do a speed test and we'll see what sort of connection I can get from up here. And the remarkable thing is I can actually get a connection of 30 up and 30 down on my 4G access. So it's better for me to trade here than it is for me to trade at the office. That's absolutely mental. Now, of course, the ping is slightly longer here, but nonetheless, if you wanted somewhere to trade, and witness this beautiful countryside and perhaps even a bit of racing, then this would be an absolutely ideal spot. So Glorious Goodwood will turn over around 40 million or so over the course of the week. Average race will turn over about £1 million, much bigger on some of the feature races. So yeah, it's certainly worth a lot of your attention.